The second part of this lecture deals with emotional intelligence and specifically how using our emotional intelligence can really help us to build better trust with our employees. There are two major dimensions to emotional intelligence. One is the personal competence that we bring to the table, and the other is the social competence, or how we interact with others. Under personal competence, we have to think about our own self-awareness and our own self-management. And then relative to others, and under social competence, we're dealing with social awareness and relationship management. So with self-awareness, the ability to perceive your own emotions in the moment and understand your tendencies across those situations is what we talk about in terms of self-awareness. The whole goal really of self-awareness is to be able to reflect on what we're feeling in the moment, being able to figure out what those emotions are accurately, and where they come from, why they exist, and how that influences the way that we interact with others or the way that we behave and think about ourselves. The goal really with self-awareness is to be really honest with yourself about what makes you tick, what makes you unhappy, what makes you happy, what upsets you, what frustrates you. Knowing all those emotions is really key. The nice thing about self-awareness is the better that you develop your self-awareness, you recognize that you'll be better at the other dimensions of emotional intelligence, because self-awareness is really this foundational skill that you really need in order to do self-management and all the interpersonal and social interactions. Because you can imagine if you're working with another employee and you have all these emotions that start to bubble up, the more you're aware of those emotions, the easier it is for you to manage them, and then it'll be easier for you to deal with the situation with that employee. So it really does help us to, first of all, be aware of ourselves, and then secondarily be aware of others and how we interact with them. In terms of the self-management, self-management is our ability to be aware of those emotions and to stay flexible and to adapt our behavior accordingly. And so the goal here is we want to have results in the moment about how to change our behaviors as we need to adapt and be flexible when the moments come up. And the key to self-management is recognizing, even though we may have the urge to react in a certain way, to take a few moments though, and then to hold off, to breathe, to relax through that moment, and then be able to think about what the larger goal is. And you might be upset about one minor thing, but you take the step back and think the larger, more important issue is I deal with this, so I can let this little thing go, because the end result is I want to work towards getting something else managed. Social awareness is what is next, and social awareness is now the beginning of how do we understand our emotions and the emotions of others, particularly what's kind of going on in the moment for them and reading them appropriately. It means that we have to start to learn and think about what other people are thinking and feeling, and recognize that they may be thinking and feeling something very different than you, even if you don't feel the same way. And so part of what has to happen with social awareness is you have to be acutely aware of your own emotions and recognize that just because you're feeling something or that you observe something doesn't mean it's necessarily true for everybody else. And so it's about looking at what other people are thinking and feeling to see, again, what it is that's going on for them. It doesn't mean you read minds, but it means that you at least are making an attempt to try to understand what's going on for them, or trying to make the appropriate attributions on that. So in this moment, listening and observing are really important. So going back to one of our previous lectures on communication skills, good active listening skills, good observation skills are going to be the key to doing self-awareness and understanding what's going on for them. Relationship management is about how do we build a good relationship with others and to use our awareness of our emotions and others to make that relationship work well. So it requires us to have clear communication, to address conflict, to be aware of when conflict is increasing so that you can honor where the other person's coming from, recognizing that they're escalating or that they have conflict. Staying calm is really important in the moment in those situations. And this is the foundation for how you're going to build trust with others. This is the foundation for the bond that you're going to build with people over time. Relationship management is the most challenging when people are feeling stress. If my stress level is high, I have very little patience or cognitive ability to sometimes address a conflict properly. And we all go through that. And so relationship management really requires us to think about, how can I manage my own stress first? How can I acknowledge the stress in somebody else? And then how can I work through that minefield that's laid out between us to see if we can figure out a solution to the problem?